All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us today. My name is Lane. I'm with Pineapple Support, and today I'm here to welcome you and introduce you to Stephen Mollura, a therapist, Pineapple Support therapist, and he's here to talk to you today about stress and harmful beliefs. This webinar is sponsored by SegPay, and I'm just going to hand this over to you, Stephen.
Thank you very much, Lane. I appreciate it. And thank you very much to Pineapple Support for helping me out and giving me this opportunity to speak. I appreciate it. All right, so we're going to make this as clear and as simple as possible, as much as we can. I understand that technical difficulties happen. If for whatever reason, lightning strikes there's a transformer outside, I'm going to try to very quickly to switch to my phone and maybe another form of communication, and we'll just try to continue as best we can. So let me just make sure I can share this screen. Give me one moment. There we go. And we're going to present. Here we go. So, I'm Steve Mollura, licensed professional counselor, licensed mental health counselor, licensed in both PA and Florida. I'm taking direct clients from both of those states. And I'm also someone who is who works with financial coaching and various other things. All right, this webinar is complimentary to the Stress and Self-Sabotage course I created in 2019. If you're interested in that, that is on the Pineapple Support page. You don't need to watch it, but it can be helpful if you are dealing with stress or anything like that. So our learning objectives today is to learn what beliefs are, where their origins are, what the benefits of them are, and how to challenge the harmful ones in a way that we can reduce our stress and increase our relaxation. This is not a comprehensive course. If this was a comprehensive course, it would be about 300 hours, and I'd be charging about $5,000 for it, and it would take, however long it takes, maybe like college semester. This is a very simple, quick and dirty thing that anyone can pick up. So one of my problems as a counselor is asking, we have all the information, right? You type into Google stress management. You will get millions of articles, thousands of videos, thousands of webinars, thousands of podcasts, thousands and thousands of, stress management things, ASMR videos, relaxation videos, things like that. With all that as tools, why do we still get stressed out? What's getting in the way of that? We have all the knowledge, but why can't we take it into action? So one of my specialties is self-sabotage, and that's my biggest thing. Self-sabotage and basically fear, and why we keep on using that when we say we want relaxation, when we say we want stress management, but we don't actually do it. So let's get into some of the things about what stress is, what beliefs are. So stress, you've probably experienced some of these symptoms before. We're just going to go through this quick and simple. Overwhelmed, lonely, worthless, constant worrying, racing thoughts, low energy, chest pain, insomnia, maybe some restlessness, nail biting, picking, interpersonal conflict, maybe some self-harm in there to more extreme symptoms. So as you're going through this list, I bet some of you are saying, yes, that is definitely me. These are just some basic symptoms. It's not a comprehensive list. There's plenty of things there. Now, what is a belief? A state or habit of mind in which trust or confidence is placed in some person or thing. I believe in someone. I believe in something. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in love, whatever you got. Something that's accepted, considered to be true, or held as an opinion, right? And then conviction or truth of a statement, blah, 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 based on examination of evidence. 2 and 3, they're not exactly mutually exclusive, but they're a bit different. One can be held as an opinion. One is based on examination of evidence. You can say, well, that's my opinion based on examination of evidence, but a lot of times you can have, well, this is my opinion, and it's just something I have with nothing to back it up. So just be aware that the word belief is not a hard and fast kind of thing. All right. What are beliefs and what kind of different beliefs do we have? And I'll try to move this around. So what we hold at the center of our being, what our core beliefs are, what do we think about the nature of who we are, how the world works. Intermediate beliefs are as you somewhere between core and surface. It's like, okay, if I'm feeling this belief about how the world works, maybe it's something dark, like, okay, the world is just out to get me. Maybe an intermediate belief is, well, if I try, then I'm going to fail, something like that. And then the surface belief is what we apply to a specific situation. So I have some examples here. Let's go through them real quick. Situation, I text a friend, they don't text me back. The core belief that it really doesn't have anything to do to this situation is I'm unlovable. Then you have an if X then Y statement. Well, why am I unlovable? If I lose weight, I will be loved. If I was a better friend, I would be loved. Two basic things. I've heard, you might have told this to yourself at some point. And the surface level thought is, my friend does not care about me. So let's go back again. I text a friend, they don't text me back. Surface level, my friend doesn't care about me. Why? Well, maybe it's because I'm too fat, maybe because I'm not as good of a friend as I want to be. And the core is I'm unlovable. You can go from the bottom to top or the top to bottom, however you want to do this. Financial trouble. Let's just say we're overdrawn in the bank account. Core belief is I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, specifically with money. Intermediate, if I were smarter, I would not have this financial stress. And the surface is, I'm going to get evicted, I'm going to get my car repossessed, something like that. I'm overdrawn at the bank account, I'll get evicted, I'll get my car repossessed. Well, if I were smarter, I would not have financial stress. And the core belief is, I'm stupid or I'm not good enough with money. So different levels, different ways of perceiving these beliefs, but you see how one can flow into the other. So we have some irrational core beliefs that you might have experienced in your life, might be experiencing right now. I'm incompetent and I need to be vigilant to avoid mistakes. It's like, well, if I let my guard down, then that's when I'm really going to screw something up. And it's what a lot of my clients and a lot of people I just know have. That's something I've had. I can't trust others, or I must trust everyone. Either everyone is untrustworthy or no one's trustworthy. People are all good, people are all bad. I need to be stressed to avoid being lazy. Well, I feel like I need to, that actually I really like because it doesn't actually matter about the output. I can do my job and feel relaxed, but if I'm relaxed, I feel lazy. So it's more about the feeling than the actual output. I need to have everything in order because chaos is distressing. That's another one. More simpler way to put it would be I can't handle chaos, so I have to be hyper vigilant about putting everything in order. I need to be stressed so I don't focus on other areas of my life that need attention. Stress is a distraction. If I stop, and take a break, take a vacation, what happens when all the thoughts, all the beliefs, all the problems I've been putting off start coming to the forefront? That's something that a lot of my clients have trouble with. Okay. Stress feels like safety. Stress feels like control. If I'm stressed, then I'm safe because I'm doing something right. If I'm stressed, I'm showing value. So one of the ways I see this, I work with a lot of people, a lot of workaholics recently, and the idea is, and it doesn't actually matter if it's a corporate world or even small business ownership, sole proprietorship. It seems to be across the board. Though I will say, corporate worlds seem to be one of the types of jobs that seems to cause this the most. The idea is, well, to have my job to show value, I need to be stressed out. I need to be sweating bullets. I need to be constantly expressing some level of stress, because otherwise the boss is going to look around and say, why are you so relaxed? Not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how it works. And if you actually ever go to a corporate job, who do you want to be, cubicle mates with? You want to be someone who's relaxed or someone who's stressed out and losing their mind all the time? Think about that. All right. So getting into some of the intermediate beliefs and some of the surface level beliefs, we're going to talk a little bit about cognitive distortions. Now, cognitive distortions are simple things where they kind of make sense in some ways, but they're illogical based on the current situation. And I'm just going to go through these one by one. And if you are You might notice multiple of these that you do. You might notice only one or two. That's okay. It says don't lose your mind too much if you get through all of them and say, yeah, that's all of them are me. That's it's pretty common. All right, magnification or minimization. Things are either too big or too small. I believe that me doing something good is minor. I believe me doing some mistake is major. I work at the grocery store. I'm stocking shelves. I smash a jar of mayonnaise accidentally. Oh my god, I'm the worst worker ever. I'm going to get fired. This is terrible. The grocery store doesn't not care about that one item of loss. They have about a million things there, but you think that's the biggest deal in the world. Minimization. Oh, I'm working in corporate and I saved this company $20,000 this month by just tracking certain statistics and making sure I can get things at a lower price for a better quality. And it's like, oh, that's not a big deal. Maximizing your mistakes, minimizing your accomplishments. A subcategory of that is catastrophization. I only see the worst possible outcomes of any situation. If it's going to rain, it's going to be a hurricane and my house is going to blow away. If I get called into my boss's office, I'm already expecting that I'm going to get fired or I'm going to chewed out. It's like, you don't know why that guy's getting you in there. Disqualifying the positive, that kind of plays back into the minimization. I only allow negative things to pass the filter. I do 100 good things in a day. I do one negative thing. Those 100 good things are worthless. I'm only focusing on the one negative. Overgeneralization. Because I feel something in the moment, I am that thing throughout my entire life. I felt awkward during my first job interview, so I'm always awkward. That's me. I'm just an awkward person. It's like, no, a lot of people feel awkward in their first job interview. It's kind of an expected thing. If you're really good at doing job interviews or doing interviews in general, great. But a lot of people just feel awkward and they feel a lot of pressure, some anxiety around it. That's okay. That doesn't mean that you are this thing all the time. Magical thinking, belief that unrelated situations affect each other. I'm a good person, bad things shouldn't happen to me. That one's a little hard sometimes because a lot of times we talk about spirituality, we talk about religious beliefs where there is an idea, well, I am a good person, I should not be cursed or I shouldn't be punished by heavens, God, spirituality, karma, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes we have to say, well, wait a minute, why does one affect the other, like logically? And that's a little hard to tear apart with beliefs sometimes, but yeah, just be aware of it. Maybe what I'm thinking about doesn't mean that I shouldn't face other things. All right, personalization, belief that I control things outside of my control. My mother is always upset, and it must be because I have not done enough to help her. Maybe she just likes being upset. It's like taking on your mother's upset, her emotional problems, and saying, like, well, this is my problem now. Jumping to conclusions, one of my favorite things when working with couples, mind reading and fortune telling. This person wouldn't do X, this person wouldn't do Y. Well, did you ask him? Did you ask her? It's like, no. Well, how do you know? Because I think I can read your mind. I think I can read the future. I either think I know what the person is thinking beforehand, or I think I know what the future is going to tell me beforehand. And unfortunately, we do not have the ability to do either of those. I wish I was Professor X. I am not, alas. Emotional reasoning, because I feel a certain way, means it's true. Because I feel angry, I must be justified. Because I feel good, I must be good. Because I feel bad, I must feel bad. Because I feel fear, there must be a threat. Not necessarily true. A horror movie is a simulation of a dangerous situation. I'm feeling the fear, but there's no actual threat around. Be aware that what you feel and the reality of the situation might be completely different things. Should statements, I should never feel sad, I should always be happy, I should never do bad things, whatever. Something where you say, I should be a certain way, but I'm not. And then absolutes, all or nothing thinking, I always, never, every time. the concept is, well, I never do a good job on my work. Really? Never? In any job? Ever? Maybe you need to question whether you are viewing it with enough nuance, with enough evidence to say, well, here's when I did do a job, good job, here's when I didn't. All right, let's take a simple belief and see if we can apply multiple cognitive distortions to it. Let's say we have a core belief and we're going to have different situations for them and see what happens. All right, let's say my core belief is I'm lazy. And the situation is career stress. I'm lazy and I need to book more gigs. Maybe I'm doing being an entertainer or a speaker, or I see clients somehow. The surface thought is, oh man, I really don't want to do that. Maybe I need to do that, but I'm too lazy to do it. But the thought of more work sounds exhausting. Oh man. And then it goes down. I feel lazy, therefore I don't have the energy to do this. I feel lazy, so I'm not going to do it. You go down, you don't actually do anything, stress continues, maybe financial stress increases. You either do easy work that does not pay well, or you're doing maybe even too much hard work where there's not enough balance and it's like, okay, I just need to work even harder, but burn yourself out. Take it back to the start. Romance conflict. Partner does things that I don't like, and I want to establish boundaries or rules. Surface thought, I better not rock the boat. A thought of more conflict is exhausting, and not another fight, not one more fight. Oh my God, I can't handle it. My partner won't accept what I ask for, therefore it is not better not to say anything and cause another draining fight. Well, you don't know that. Maybe there's a history there. Maybe it needs to be approached in a different way. Maybe you need a couples counselor. But you don't know that what you say won't be accepted. Results in no action taken, romance conflict continues, and resentment builds. All right, personal fun, doing an activity with a friend. Maybe your surface thoughts are, I'm drained, I really don't want to do this. A better friend would be less lazy and would be excited to do this. They'd be pumped. Your should statement is, I should want to do this. Now you're doing something you actually don't want to do, or you're saying that, or you're missing some nuance here where maybe I don't want to do it right now. Maybe me sitting in bed, I'm just like, man, getting up and going and have, I don't know, a hike with a friend sounds miserable right now. But then when you actually get up and do it, then you actually enjoy it. So you're both shooting on you. You are shooting on you. Don't shoot on yourself. You are shooting on you both in the present and in the future. All right. I'm going to go through this real quick and then we'll move on. So let's say your core belief is I'm a failure. You get into an intermediate belief that if I feel accomplished, then I'll lose my edge and screw up next time. The idea is I can't relax. I can't sit on my laurels. I can't really accept my own accomplishments, so I don't. Then there's personalization. If my partner is mad at me, that's supposed to be mad at me, is my fault. Must serve my partner. I must never say anything to make them angry. If their conflict arises, I have to go through the path of least resistance, which leads to a relational power imbalance. Now, these are just simple examples, but here's a core belief. Here's how it presents itself. That's the main idea I want you guys to take from me. This is how some of your thoughts and your beliefs can cause future problems. All right, move this over here. So wait, why do we have these? They're helpful. They're not helpful 90% of the time. They're not even helpful 99% of the time. But sometimes they're actually helpful. Because sometimes the idea is maybe I shouldn't sit on my laurels. Maybe then I will not actually be able to do my job, meet my responsibilities. Maybe I fear that if I maximize the accomplishments I've made, I will get too big of a head, and then people will be like, man, that's Steve. He's such a jackass with all his pride in himself, and he pushes his weight around a little too much. Maybe there's a fear of ostracism. Maybe there's a fear of rejection. Catastrophization. I love this one. If you expect a kick to the balls and get a slap in the face, it's considered a victory. If I have the worst as my thoughts of a situation, it means that any terrible thing is going to be less It's going to be considered a better thing than the worst possible thing. Not actually that helpful. Because let's say, I don't know, catastrophize. What did I say before? If it rains, it's going to be a hurricane, and then my house is going to get blown away. That idea might help you and say, all right, make sure we have batten down the hatches and make sure our place is safe. But it only moves you from a 10 distress, like the worst distress possible, to maybe a 5, 6. Maybe it reduces your distress, but it doesn't get you to neutral and it doesn't actually get you to positive enjoyment. But sometimes we need to use this. Sometimes we need to say, it's not the worst that can happen. Overgeneralization. I love this. Generalization is a great survival mechanism. If I eat some red berries and I get sick, then it means I'm going to avoid the color red for a while. Strawberries, generally, even white strawberries, are never poisonous. So it's like, here's all this red fruit that's actually really good, but I'm not going to eat it. Overgeneralization here is something like, well, if I always am some way, every time, then I'm saying I better take what I learned and apply it to every situation, even when it's not actually helpful. Magical thinking, it helps to control the uncontrollable. We try to combine unrelated concepts to work with a dangerous and scary world. Much like the entire red berries and being sick, maybe it means I actually ate a bunch of strawberries, which are not poisonous, but I just got sick from something else. But I better be safe than sorry, right? Personalization. If it's about me, then I can change it. If it is not, then I am powerless, and that is agonizing. I work with a lot of people who've experienced significant trauma, and who, when I say, hey, it's not your fault any of this happened, they say, yes, it was, and here's why. And eventually I get to the point of like, it seems like you would rather judge yourself with all the shame, guilt, and agony that comes with, and say, what happened to me was my fault, than to say, what happened to me wasn't my fault, and feel that incredibly distressing sense of powerlessness. That happens a lot when I work with trauma. I'd rather be kicking my own butt than accept powerlessness in some situations. Because if it was my fault, I could have changed it, and I can change it in the future. It's like, well, you can change in the future, be more aware, be more empowered, but we need to accept that we didn't have that in the past, which a lot of people just hate. They hate that feeling of powerless, me included. Jumping to conclusions. We do need to extrapolate based on the available information. Maybe we do need to plan ahead. Maybe we do need to look into the crystal ball. Winter's coming. Better save some plants and jam and seeds and some bread, because soon enough we're not going to be able to get outside our houses and hunt. Sometimes we do need to plan for the future and say, this is what I think is going to happen. Maybe we do need to say, maybe I can't read this person's mind, but I'm afraid that if I do something wrong, this is going to have some terrible thing happen to me. It's helpful in a survival mechanism, it's survival situation like a war or maybe a tribal society back in caveman days, but maybe not so much now. Love emotional reasoning, especially fear. I feel the fear and then I see the predator. If you've gone through the woods and maybe you felt an unreasoning fear for a moment, and then you look around, you're like, oh, there's a snake. Maybe you saw it, maybe you heard it, and you got some information first, but even though you consciously didn't recognize it. Emotional reasoning can also be a survival mechanism there. Should statements are mainly for social cohesion. I should be a certain way, I should feel a certain way. Why? Because otherwise I'm going to get kicked out of my tribe and starve to death. Generally, we don't have that problem these days, even though rejection does still hurt. And all or nothing thinking. When we talk about all or nothing thinking, it's clear. It's either black, it's white, it's up or down. If we have ambivalence, then it's really hard to differentiate things. Ambivalence hurts people sometimes. Some people are saying, I think of it one way and I think of another, and both of those sides are just beating the crap out of each other. All right. Let's take one step back to negativity and stress. Negativity is a survival mechanism. If we have negativity, it's treating potential dangers as if they are catastrophic dangers. I feel bad. I eat those red berries. I feel bad. I feel bad enough that I'm going to avoid them. Maybe I'm not going to eat any strawberries, which are delicious and give good sustenance, but that is better safe than sorry, because what if I try one and then I die? It feels real, it feels right, and it feels addictive. Stress is addictive. And when I work with trauma with some of these people, especially when I was saying about personalization, it says something like, I better use this for my own survival, especially if this happens again, especially if someone tries to attack me again, especially if something bad happens, another explosion, another war, whatever it is. It's like, great. Your brain is trying to get you to remember every single thing you can, so that if this happens again, you are prepared next time. However, the idea is it's so traumatic that it needs to be healed before it's used properly. But your brain doesn't realize that. It's like, I'm used to stress, I'm used to hypervigilance. I need to be in that state. Otherwise, I'll be attacked by a predator and die. And I hope this is making sense. If there's any questions, do me a favor and send in a chat to the comments. All right. Negativity overpowers positivity. Generally, we want a 5-to-1 ratio of positive to negative. If you do one negative thing, do 6 positive things. Or, excuse me, 5 positive things. Yes. All right, we got some cognitive distortions. We got some negativity as a survival mechanism. We got some unhelpful core beliefs about who we are, what we think we are, what we think the world works as. What do we do with all this? Let's talk about mitigating some of these core beliefs. Thought record. Love this one. Super simple. You can just Google it, print it out, or you can just make a little journal just like this. What's the situation? What's the thought? What's the emotions, behaviors, and the alternates? Let's go back to that, going back to texting someone. Everyone's busy, so I'm spending an evening alone with no plans. No one wants to hang out with me. That's our surface thought. I'm just wasting my life sitting here alone. And the emotion then is depression, sadness, loneliness, what have you. I'm just going to stay home all night and do nothing. Having bad thoughts and just kicking my own ass. What's the alternate thought? I'm alone tonight. Everyone's alone at some point. Maybe one of my friends, all my friends are out in the woods right now and they don't have cell reception. Maybe everyone's asleep. Maybe I don't have enough friends. That actually might be a problem. It's like, okay, if I'm only texting 3 people, then if it's a Saturday night and you didn't make plans before, maybe they're all busy right now. We can qualify this and say, this, even though I am alone tonight, this doesn't actually mean anything about me. Difficult school assignment. So much work. I'm horrible at this stuff. I don't think I can do it. Anxiety, fear, stress, what have you. You avoid the assignment. Procrastinating, had to rush the work. Maybe it's difficult. Maybe it's actually I don't want to do it. But I know if I can do it if I break it into smaller pieces. I like that as an empowering thought. The idea is, even though it's difficult, I can still handle it. The alternate thought is, yeah, it is difficult. I can handle it. My anxiety around it doesn't mean I can't. Simple thought record. If you spend a week tracking your own thoughts, you will notice a huge difference. Socratic questioning, another one that I use all the time, is my thought realistic? I'm basing my thoughts on facts or feelings. What's going on with that? Excuse me. What is the evidence for this thought? If you go through my notes, and don't because they're all HIPAA compliant and locked, but if you go through my notes, you will find the word letters A, E, B. As evidenced by. As evidenced by what? I'm a terrible person. As evidenced by what? I screwed up my homework assignment. It's like, well, that doesn't make you terrible. makes you maybe needing some little bit of help, maybe some tutoring. Maybe you need, I don't know, an organizer to, play around with stuff. But that doesn't mean you're a terrible person. Always ask yourself, as evidenced by, if I think about something, if I think I should be some way, as evidenced by what? If I think I am some way, as evidenced by what? All right, am I having this thought out of habits? It's like, well, how much of a lot of my clients will say, I've just been kicking my own ass my entire life, and I just do it out of habit now. It's like, okay, that's not helpful for you and it or anyone around you. Just because we have inertia and we're all constantly doing self-judgment, we're constantly stressing ourselves out, doesn't mean we have to be that way. Even though that's what we're used to, does not mean we can't change. And especially like this one, decatastrophization. If we're looking at the worst possible scenario, really, what's the worst that can happen? Batten down the hatches. If it rains, it's a hurricane, my house is going to get blown away. Then what? Do you have house insurance? Do you have friends who can help you? Do you have a place to stay? Do you need to move out of, I don't know, out of Florida or wherever tsunamis are? Is that something we have to consider? Is there some element we need to say, I can handle this or can't handle this? Now, losing your house is a pretty extreme example, but how likely is it? And even if it's unlikely, can I handle the worst possible scenario? Maybe I can. Excuse me. Nope, there we go. How else? Awareness. You can go through the list of cognitive distortions. You can go through any list of cognitive distortions. Am I going through this right now? Am I thinking correctly? Or is this my mind trying to protect me and protect itself? Maybe the idea is, wait a minute. My core belief is I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm saying, I'm not good enough because, I don't know, I'm screwed up on some work assignment. The narrative is I need stress to keep me vigilant so I don't fail and get fired. Wait, is that really it? Am I really thinking correctly? What cognitive distortions are going on now? I can relax because a relaxed employee and performer makes less mistakes and is way easier to work with. I will be less likely to fail and get fired if I'm less stressed, not more. Now, your boss might disagree with that, but your boss doesn't know what they're doing. Repeat the new narrative many, many times. Challenge these beliefs, be aware of your cognitive distortions, and then challenge them. All right. Now, this is a lot of cognitive behavioral techniques, and a lot of CBT is very surface level. Surface level in the sense that you can change your thinking a lot, reduce your stress, and it's great. But a lot of times we'll say, I got rid of my negative core beliefs, I got some healthy core beliefs, but I still feel terrible, still hate myself, I still feel like a failure, whatever. I say there must be something else going on then. Unresolved trauma, some other core beliefs that need unpacking, maybe something that needs to be healed, maybe something that needs to be grieved. If some of these beliefs and stressors originate from a source of trauma or grief or anything like that, consider pursuing counseling with your local therapist. Just an idea. All right, that's pretty much it. I hope this has been helpful in regards to stress and some of the harmful beliefs. If you are interested in further information about cognitive distortions, I suggest Therapist Aid. It has a huge list of cognitive distortions and how to mitigate some of those.